All right, we are a week away from the WWE's next premium live event. Clash in Paris is streaming live next Monday, September 1st on Netflix. One of the headline bouts, Roman Reigns going head to head with Adelaide's own Bronson Reed. He's been good enough to join me. Bronson, welcome back to SUNSA.
No, thank you for having me again. It's always fun to come on here and have a chat. And yes, I am looking forward to kicking Roman Reigns' ass.
Well, let's get straight into it, man, because this is going to be quite a match. I mean, you're taking on Roman Reigns. He's been one of the most dominant names in wrestling over the past couple of years, and
Mhm.
the longest reigning WWE champion of the modern era and the face of the company for almost a decade. This is going to be quite a big match for you. And are you ready for all the attention that's going to be placed on you in Paris?
Yeah, 100%. I said in my last few years of my career, obviously crazy things have happened. I've been released from WWE, I've come back to WWE, had a life-altering injury, I'm back again. Like, I make sure that all these moments let soak in and I make the most of them. And I've been telling people for the longest time that anyone from Australia can get in with anyone else and we're the best in the business. And what way to prove that than to face Roman Reigns, who, as you said, has been the face of the company. He's had WWE on his back for the last 10 years, but maybe it's time for some other people to start overtaking him. And that's where Big Bronson Reed steps in and takes his shoes and does what I need to do.
Well, you did mention, you just touched on it briefly.
Yeah.
Non-wrestling fans might not know that you had a pretty significant foot injury back in November
Mhm.
2024, put you on the shelf until May this year. Thankfully, you've picked up where you left up, but you did miss the road to WrestleMania in 2025. But how was the toll on you during that rehab, and what did you do? Because, you're looking in some fantastic shape right now. I saw you on with Sheamus on Celtic Warrior workouts.
Yes.
Looking better than when you left.
Yeah, I made sure, like, obviously the injury was such a hard thing to get through rehab wise. But also, I knew I was coming back in a month or so. So I joined up with our fellow friend Slex. He's a pro wrestler out there in Australia. He has a company called Body Biz. And I actually dropped 25 pounds in about 5 weeks. So a pretty quick turnaround right before I debuted back on Saturday night's main event. And I'm still with him now, working on it now. And I still want to drop a little bit more. Since then, I've dropped another or so pounds. So I'm going to keep dropping until I sort of feel comfortable in what I want to do. But at the same time, Slex realizes that I need to be that big dude as well that hits a tsunami. So it's a mixture of a few things. But yeah, he's a great trainer and it's helped me tremendously to get back on the road.
You're looking lean, you're looking fit, and also you mentioned you had a couple of life changing things happening. You're also a dad now as well, so
Yes,
it helps
yeah.
keep you not only in ring shape but a dad shape as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, I never sleep now, so if I'm on the road, I barely get to sleep, and then when I get home, I have a baby as well. So it's a juggling act, but at the same time, I'm very lucky to have a supportive wife who takes on most of those duties. Um, and mentally for me, going through my injury was such a thing where you do sometimes question yourself, and you're focusing on what's happening on TV while you're away, and you're like, oh my God, am I going to be able to come back and still be in my position or whatever? But having my daughter be there was such a great thing mentally that I could focus on just dad life and being a dad. And when the time was right, I was going to be back in WWE.
Well, you are a member of the Vision alongside world champions Seth Rollins, Bron Breakker, and Paul Heyman. It is the newest faction that we've seen in the WWE, but it is becoming one of the most dominant ones. You've always been a solo star for the majority of your career, especially during your time with the company. You've been a North American champion when you were in NXT. On the main roster, you won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal in 2024. Now you're part
Yep.
of the group. Has it been different adjusting to, rolling with the crew?
Well, I mean, it has definitely. It wasn't something that if you were to tell me right before I got injured that I'd be in a group with Seth Rollins, I'd be like, no way. We were in a sort of a blood feud at the time. I hit him with the six tsunamis. I did some crazy stuff with Seth. But now it's worked out great where I feel like our group is so strong that there's no weak link. You sort of have three single superstars in there together, but that at the same time, we now have Seth as the world heavyweight champion. And when the time is right, me and Bron can be a tag team as well. Um, and obviously we have Paul Heyman, who's one of the greatest minds in wrestling ever. Like you can't ask for a better manager. So I'm actually really happy to be in that position and to keep the vision going forward. And hopefully it's something that stays strong for a long time.
I mentioned your bout with Roman Reigns that's coming up at Clash in Paris, but the WWE's international footprint, man, it has been growing at a
Yeah.
huge rate. And last year we saw Elimination Chamber in WA, and we're going to see the WWE return to Perth this October with Crown Jewel, as well as a Raw and a SmackDown broadcast too. Now you and I are off the same vintage. You know, we grew up like watching main event pay-per-views and all that sort of stuff.
Yes.
Did you ever think in your wildest dreams that we'd have the opportunity to have these marquee shows in Australia?
You know what? Like I always hoped for it. You know that's something as a fan that I was like, come on, they need to start doing some well, back then pay-per-views, but PLEs in Australia, and it wasn't something that I thought was going to happen. But now that it is happening, it makes sense, and I hope that we actually expand and do more. Like hopefully it's not just Perth. Hopefully we get Melbourne and Adelaide and Sydney and Brisbane and Hobart and Canberra and all these different places, even the Northern Territory. Hopefully we go out there. Um, but I think the big thing for me is to be able to represent for like we said, we grew up watching this stuff on main event, but we didn't have any representation. We had our favorite wrestlers, but they were either American, basically American, whereas now we have such a global footprint, but we also have such a global backstage as well as people from Australia and England and Mexico and America and Canada and all these places that I think it's just made it so much more of a global product. Also, being partnered with Netflix helps as well.
Yeah. The thing is, though, it's been quite a while since I've actually wrestled on our shores, so you must be over
Yes.
the moon and counting down till October.
I'm counting down not only to be able to wrestle, obviously, in front of my people, and I'm going to definitely turn it up more than ever because when you're back home, that's you feel it more, I think, from your home crowd. But at the same time, I'm counting down the time until I can have a meat pie again. So that's a big thing on my list.
Well, but one thing, since your return from injury, I mean, you have been mixing it up with some pretty big names. We mentioned you're part of the Vision, but your last PLE, you and Bron Breakker teamed up to take on Roman Reigns and Jey Uso. That was at SummerSlam, in front of over
Yes.
50,000 fans at MetLife Stadium. You've been feuding with CM Punk, LA Knight, Penta. And you've also mentioned before you were standing side by side, Seth Rollins and you had a hell of a war. It's
Yeah.
uh, 2025 has been just a huge upswing for Bronson Reed.
Yeah, I feel like hopefully I keep that momentum going. I can't see it not going because the Vision is taking over the whole business. That's sort of what we want to do. So I have Roman Reigns in Paris, and then after I beat him up, hopefully we'll see what happens in WrestlePalooza, the first ever one next month, and then we're off to Australia. And I don't know what I'll be doing in Australia, but I said I guarantee the Tribal Thief is going to be there, and I'm going to, cause a ruckus in my home.
You might have a couple of extra Jordans to have to take back with you.
Yeah, that's the worst part about it. I did it to prove a statement that I can do whatever I want to Roman Reigns. I make Superman Clark Kent by taking his shoes. I humanize him, but then at the same time, I'm like, I have these two shoes that I'm carrying with me everywhere now. The joke's on me.
Now, Bronson, before I let you go, man, I can't not have you on SEN and not talk about your beloved Port Adelaide because
Oh, well, I don't think we're doing too good. So,
well, here's the thing. Look, it's gonna be a milestone game for the club tonight because you're going to farewell two greats. Travis Boak says farewell.
yes,
Ken Hinkley,
great player.
Ken Hinkley
Travis spoke so good.
also will be saying goodbye as his last
Yeah,
as coach. But these are two men that kind of rebuilt your club from some pretty bad times, the doldrums, if you will. What's your thoughts
yeah,
of the legacy of their time at Port Adelaide? Yeah, it didn't lead to a premiership, but look at Travis Boak. He's got 387 games. You see the amount of prelims that Ken Hinkley got you to. It's
yes.
sure you didn't taste the ultimate success, but they definitely left the place a lot better than when they got there. So, as a Power fan, what do you think about the future?
I'm excited for the future. I was hoping some trade deals might have went our way, but it didn't work. But apart from that, someone like Travis Boak is such a big part of the club, not only for how many games he did, but he's one of those guys that when he gets out there on the field, he gives it his 100% every time, and you can see it in the way that he plays. So that's going to be a big loss, but also, you can only play so much before your body gives out on you. I know that with what I do, it's the same thing. And same with Hinkley, he's been a big part, and he did get us close to premierships. It didn't happen, but I can't hate on him for that. You know, that's the way that football is. Like, there's always got to be someone that's going to be better than you, and hopefully one year you'll be better than them. So, I think it's a good move, though. I think we definitely need a new coach, and we're going to see where that goes. And yeah. I'll always be a supporter through the good times and bad.
Yeah, it's just a bit of a bit of a trough now, but you got to be there for the peaks,
Yeah,
don't you?
you have to be. You have to be.
Well, Bronson, man, it's been an absolute pleasure to chat to you. Just a reminder, you can check out Clash in Paris Monday, September 1st on Netflix, but the WWE head backs to Australia for a takeover of Perth, SmackDown October 10th, Crown Jewel October 11th, Monday Night Raw October 13th, featuring John Cena's final appearance in Australia. Tickets at tickettech.com.au. Bronson Reed, it's always a pleasure, and you're more than welcome whenever you, well, not like I can tell you where you're welcome or not. You kind of make your own rules. So thanks for the chat, man, and we'll talk soon.
Yes, thank you very much. And maybe next time I see what shoes you're wearing, we'll go from there.